Today's video is at the Lockport Locks and Erie Canal cruises. So right now, I just went in, got my ticket. If you have AAA, you get a discount. So today, the ride is only 21 bucks with AAA. Just gonna bring you along to the boats while we're all waiting in line. I'm probably going to put my microphone on here once we get going because it's going to be a little bit windy. But we're in Lockport, New York, and these are the canals, which were once the way everybody got back and forth with commerce. You can see everybody's just kind of waiting in line. And then when I get on the ship, I will find a place and we'll go from there. I'll show you the boarding pass. Hopefully it'll focus. Doesn't look like it is. But there's the adult boarding pass. They just laminate it. You hold it until you get on. And while I'm waiting to get onto the boat, there's a nice little boat sitting here at the dock. So I'm just going to tape this one. I think with the crowd we have, we're probably going to take the next one up, the next biggest one. I'm not positive. This one's pretty cool. I like the old wood in the front, and the wooden wheel. Very nice. And then we got one right behind it, which I'm thinking is probably going to be the next one, because it looks like maybe 20, 25 people on this cruise. Just give you kind of a view of the little park. Little place for picnic tables. They hold weddings here, so you can do like a wedding and then go on a boat. It's pretty nice. And with that, I'll leave it till we get on the boats. The back of the boats, this is the last boat. It's the Lockview 6, and it's a paddle boat. I know I'm going through the trees here, but I'm going to lead you to the back of it. You can see the paddle boat. This is the one for like big parties, weddings, things like that. Let's see what we can get from here. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you can see inside all the tables. And you can get the website right there, lockportlocks.com. This one has an upper and lower deck. Big old party boat. I said I think we'll end up on the mid-sized boat by the looks of things, by how many people there are. But this one looks pretty cool, so I want to get this for you. Okay, so we made it onto the boat. Give you kind of a little front view, the bow, and then I'm literally right by the stairs. And we're pulling out. Can't stand up just yet, but once I can, I will. Meanwhile, we're backing out. Get ready for the ride.
We'll start with our barges over here on our right. These are typical of the work barges they use to work along the canal. Now the reason they have them tied up over here is because located in the city of Lockport is the westernmost dry dock along the banks of the canal. Now once we clear this last barge, you'll see where the cement wall in front of us, that's Lockport's famous upside-down railroad bridge. Now that's a bridge that gets its name from its appearance. It looks like somebody installed the bridge upside down. Now back in the heyday of the canal, it was the canal that was making all the money. The railroad company set out to do something about that. Now the railroad company did receive permission from New York State to build their trusses across the canal for routing purposes. New York State granted them permission, but told them that the tracks of the trestle had to be 15 feet above the water. But what the railroad company failed to mention in New York State was that they had hired an engineer who had designed a bridge with the superstructure on the bottom. It was the very first one of its kind in this area. Once the trestles were installed, the tracks were indeed 15 feet above the water, but the additional superstructure underneath the bridge, well, it greatly reduced the size of the vessels that could make their way along the canal. Now, if your boat didn't fit under the bridge, well, then you were forced to unload your cargo onto the train. And eventually, that's how the trains took over. Now, this bridge never posed a problem. It is better than 50 feet over our heads. The trestle itself is over 100 years old, still used on a daily basis. Now we're going to get a really good look at this bridge on our way back down to the lock. Now up in front of us to the left, peeking through the trees, looks like there's a cement train sitting on the water. That's a vertical spillway. Inside that spillway are turbines. As the water runs through the spillway, it'll spin the turbines and generate electricity. All the electricity generated is then housed in the red brick building in the back of the basin. Now each lock has the capability of generating all of its own electrical needs, and Lockport's no exception. If you were to add up all the electricity generated on the canal, well, you could light up a city half the size of San Francisco. Now the waterfalls that you see over to our right, those are your famous Flight of Five. Those are your 5 original westbound or upbound locks here in the city of Lockport that date back to 1825. Now there were 5 chambers. Each chamber would have taken you up 10 feet for a total of 50 feet, which is the difference in the elevation of the escarpment. Now that was one boat at a time, and it was all manually operated. So for a vessel to go up the 50-foot difference in the escarpment took about 2.5 hours. The 5 locks that would have taken you downbound were removed when they installed locks 34 and 35. The 2 locks we'll be going through today. We're still going to go up 50 feet, but we're going to do it 2 25-foot steps. Give you all an idea of what 25 feet looks like. Take a look at the green doors that are closed in front of us. That's the entrance to lock number 35. Where the green doors turn brown is what we affectionately refer to as our slime line. We're going to go up to that level. Now we're going to need water to go up 25 feet. We're going to get it from behind the green doors. Right now the water level behind the doors is 50 feet over our heads. If those doors were to open up for any particular reason, well, let's say right about now, we could be passing the building where you boarded the boat at in about 3 seconds. But I wouldn't worry about it. I've never seen it happen twice in the same week. So you got that going for it. Now this is the part of the trip where we're going to advise everyone, any part of your body that you'd like to take home with you after the trip, please keep inside the vessel. This boat goes over 30 tons. Tying up on the right-hand side, the starboard side, up against the solid cement wall. If you get caught between the boat and the wall, well now there's an experience we'd like to share with you today. We're going to ask that you stay inside. Now keep your eye on the doors that are open. Once we clear them, they should begin to close. Once we're safely secured to the wall, we want to tell you all about how the locks work, and then to give you a little bit more history about the Erie Canal and the area that you're in. locks, which is 14 feet deep right now. Now when the lock operator opens up a series of valves, what's going to happen is the water is going to begin to drain from lock number 35, just like you drain your bathtub at home. This is all done by the force of gravity. The water is going to go down the pipe and pop up underneath us, rising us up from the bottom. Now we need 3 million gallons of water to go up 25 feet, and this should take us approximately 10 minutes to do so. But if you think about it, that's pretty remarkable. We're going to put 3 million gallons of water in here fast you can fill your bathtub at home. Now if you'd like to keep track of how many feet we're going up, well, lucky for you, in front of us to the left and behind us to the left is a ladder. Each one of the rungs on the ladder are 1 foot apart. So by counting the rungs when we get to 25, well then we're done. Now when the water level in this lock chamber is equal to the water level in the chamber in front of us, then and only then can the lock operator open up the doors in front of us. Those doors that you're looking at are 5 stories tall, they weigh 50 tons apiece, but they're only operated by a 7 horsepower motor. They're that well balanced. Right now the lock operator couldn't open up those doors, even if he accidentally tried. Which really should make you guys very comfortable to know that fact in this position. Now always get asked how many boats will they fit in this chamber. Answer that question as many as they can. I was driving our smaller boat, I was in here with 2,500 boats, and the fact is like 30. Of course, anytime there's that much traffic in here, it goes rather slow. That's because buffer loads of these ships are parked or wood, being from the damage in the canal. Not very amusing. Now when the water level is to the bottom, the green doors will have 14 feet left to go. We'll start picking up speed. And then because there's less turbulence created, the closer we get to the top. Public, you're welcome to come down and check them out. Best way to get here is by car. If you leave our parking lot, make a right onto Market Street. You go to the top of the hill at the very first signal light, you make a right. You go to the next signal light, make another right. And that'll put you on Pine Street, and that's the bridge above our heads. Now the old locks, they were only 15 feet wide and 90 feet long. We're at 300 feet long, 40 feet wide. You can think of how many in the old locks I can fit.
I'm just showing this sign so you can see the way the boat is moving up and up and up and up as the locks are filling this part with water so that we can pass through it. I don't know if you can see like how we're rising, but we are definitely rising up like a couple feet at a time. It takes about 10 minutes, he said, for the whole thing to fill up. But we're starting to be able to be even with the road and the people on the road. I'm gonna go towards the front a little bit so you can see the difference in where we're at.
'87 by '68, we got a reunion of 55th tonight. Oh, yeah. Good for you. We're no longer driving. I'll be happy to make it.
And here we are. We are even with land. We should be ready to pass through the front gate pretty soon. We are off. Pretty good, guys. Whoops. Sorry, stood up and my camera went way down. Okay, as you can see, the lock evened out. So now we're gonna be moving. I'm gonna be stepping. And then there's a little park next to all of this. So when I'm done, I'm gonna take a little walk, go along the park here. And you can see all the people up top. They can also watch the locks empty out and the boat go by. Nobody's waving. Okay, people are waving. Then we got another lock to go through.
I can see the doors are closing behind us. Now both of these lock chambers are identical. Your optical illusion here is you don't have a 5-story tall door in front of us. You have a shorter lock door. Once we get to the top of this lock chamber, we're going to notice there's actually a double set of doors in front of us. Identical to these called the guard gate. The reason we have a guard gate is just imagine a tugboat pushing a couple of barges down the canal heading this way and they couldn't stop. Well, if they couldn't stop and hit the doors in front of us, we're in this position here. You know what they call that? Yeah. So that's why we have a double set of doors up to make sure bad things don't happen. Now you notice the doors in front of us leak a little bit. That's nothing. Just think of it this way. This is our cheesier version of the main of the mist. Just stay a whole bunch drier, that's all that does. Now we took the water out of this lock chamber to fill up block number 34. We did so by the use of gravity. Gravity only works one way. You see, we don't pump the water back and forth, we don't recycle it anyway. The only thing that gets recycled around here are the empties. And over 30 years worth of bad jokes have been told. And you'll hear a few more of mine today. What we're doing is we're taking water off the upper canal, 25 feet. Same time we're going up. Lock number 34 is emptying its water into the lower canal, keeping the water moving to the east. Now it just takes approximately the same amount of time to go up to this lock chamber as it did the last lock chamber.
raised up in the air.
The exact opposite direction that we're going.
Hopefully you guys can hear
Every
some of
mile
what
that you go to the east, we go down a foot in
the host
elevation.
is saying. He's funny as
Anywhere
hell.
that you see a lock would have been a great change in elevation. They call those waterfalls. Now, of course, everyone knows you can send just about anything you want over a
On the
into a
bottom level.
five-day trip, and it
It's
was
getting a little hot
rather
up there.
relaxing. We can sit off the front of the boat and get a suntan.
But
Now,
if you
we
look at
covered
the
Dewick
markings
Lake,
on the
which is
door, you
driving
can see how
force
far
behind the canal.
down the
Wanted
water
to run the
goes,
canal
and then
through
how
New
far
York
back
City to
up
open up the west
that
to
we
make
have to
Buffalo
get
a viable port.
to get to the
Both
next
of
lot.
which
It's called an
happened.
escarpment, and it
Now, New
goes
York
up.
State was very reluctant to
levels.
come up with the funding for the canal, as they didn't really see a need for it.
This is the
Please
lower
refer to
deck.
the canal as Clinton's Ditch or Clinton's Folly. And those are two phrases you'll still find in today's vernacular. It is not uncommon to open up a map of New York State where it says Erie Canal. Well, it'll say Clinton's Ditch in parentheses. Now, through his persistence, Governor Clinton managed to procure, that's just my fancy word for get, he got $10 million out of New York State, and they told him that was all the money he was going to get making work. Well, Governor Clinton was a very shrewd man and knew a great many things could go wrong, so he decided to think outside the box. Now, what he did was he assembled 1,800 laborers in a place called Rome, New York. Now, why Rome, New York? Because you open up a map of New York State, Rome, New York's right in the center. Well, he pointed 900 laborers to the east and the other 9 to the west and told them to start digging. So they actually started the construction of the canal from the center of New York State working out. This way, if they ran into any trouble, Governor Clinton could then go back to New York State and say to them, hey, go take a look at your state. It's got a big hole in the middle of it. What do you want to do about that? Keep the money coming. Now, they started the construction in 1817 and worked straight through year-round. It was completed in 1825. The canal itself opened up to great success as it was able to pay itself off 10 times over within the first 7 years. And that was all due to the toll. The original toll on the canal for passengers was a penny a mile. It was freight that varied, but you could pretty much plan on spending a penny a ton a mile. So by collecting pennies, they paid the debt off. In fact, it was so successful, it paid off both expansions. But most people don't know is the original canal was only 40 feet wide and 4 feet deep. So about as wide as you're sitting in, but only 4 feet deep. Well, because of the ease of the use and the cost and the efficiency, well, boats got larger and traffic got heavier. And because of that, in 1911, they started an expansion and finished it in 1917. The canal you're on today is 80 feet across, 14 feet deep, with 15 foot of clearance overhead. Now, as far as the toll on the canal, New York State was feeling so guilty about all the money they were making on the canal, but get this, they eliminated the toll on the canal for 76 years. And then what happened? Well, enter the New York State Thruway Authority. That's what happened. Anytime you use the word Thruway Authority in a sentence, you get a toll.
That's true.
And that's what happened. But then the Thruway Authority gave up the rights of the canal to the Power Authority. And the Power Authority in 2017, well, they eliminated the toll on the canal for pleasure boats, not for commercial traffic. The boat you're on is commercial traffic and we pay. But what that means, you have yourself a pleasure boat, you go from Buffalo to Albany free of charge. In fact, you can do it in a canoe. They do allow canoes and kayaks to come through the locks. You don't have to portage around them. We see them all the time. Now you can see we have about 13 feet left to go. We're going to leave this lock and go into an area of the canal called the Rock Cut, and I'll explain all that when we get up there. We're going to have to go underneath that bridge that's coming into view, which happens to be the widest single-span bridge in all of North America over water, at 399 feet wide. Now that just happens to be the center of town. Back in the day of the trolley car, they needed a wide bridge to be able to turn the trolley car around on. Now most people today, when they cross that bridge, don't even know they're on it. It's only 2 lanes of traffic. You can see the truck going down the one lane, there's another car. The other lane of traffic cuts that bridge in half by going across at an angle. The rest of that bridge serves as a parking lot. In fact, the two far corners, the left far corner serves as the foundation of the old Friendly's ice cream. The right far corner serves as the foundation of City Hall. Now, originally constructed, that bridge, well, it was made out of wood. But under a labor dispute, that just means the workers didn't get paid. Well, the workers took matters in their own hands, torched it, burned it down. The second one they made out of steel. Now, this bridge has a real easy name to remember. You ready? It's just called the Big Bridge. And it's the only bridge in this area that's not named after a dead politician yet. I'll give it a week, we'll see what happens. Now, in about another 4 feet, our operator will open up the doors and we'll head right into the rock cut.
And now we're even with the lock again, so we are able to pass through. That should be the final lock for today. I'm gonna go back in the shade. It's getting a little too toasty for me. We're entering under the bridge. Wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, people always ask us what our nautical significance is, but a vessel goes underneath the bridge. Why does it sound its horn? Well, I'll let you know the secret. There isn't any. We just have a loud horn, and I think it sounds cool. That's why I do it. Hope you enjoyed that. Now, welcome to the rock cut. This part of the canal gets its name from its appearance. They're surrounded by rock on both sides. Now, it took the workers 3 years to go the next 5 miles, and that's because they had to deal with all this stone. All this stone that you're looking at is green limestone. It's all part of the Niagara escarpment. The Niagara escarpment is the same rock formation that forms Niagara Falls. Now, they invented a special drill bit to get through this rock. This was a 6-foot long drill bit called a star bit. One guy would hold on to the drill bit while 2 guys took turns driving into the rock by smashing it with sledgehammers. Now, as we make our way underneath this bridge, I'd like to take a look over to our right, look above the towpath. That is the towpath over there. And you're going to see some vertical scars left in the rock from the drill bit. Now, once they had a series of those holes made, they would then fill them up with blasting powder left over from the War of 1812, light it, and then they'd run. You see, blasting wasn't an exact science back then like it is today. They always knew they were going to get something, they just didn't know what that something was going to be, so they used to run for the hills. Now, in order to save money, during the winter, they'd make those holes, and then they'd fill them with water and cap them. Well, in the winter time, the water would freeze and expand, and that would crack the rock. And then they could go down and retrieve it. Now, this area was also known for its underground tunnels, and it still is today. These tunnels were all formed naturally back during the Ice Age when the glaciers were moving through. Now, some of these tunnels were just large enough to fit small boys down there, so they'd give a kid a keg of black powder and a long wick. Tell them to go down to the tunnel as far as they could go, light the wick, and then the theory was that the kid would be out of the tunnel before the charge went off. Well, you see, that was just a theory. More often than not, the kid was still in the tunnel when the charge went off, and that kid would come out covered with black soot. And that's how he earned his nickname, Powder Monkey.